Hey, Hugh, Scott Griffin here, Birmingham. How are you?
Scott, good.
I know you can't comment on the things that happened in the last couple of days, but could you comment on the spirit from which you think it came from? Part B, do you forget about it in addressing it with your team? How do you handle it as you get forward to going to practice and those kind of things?
Yeah, I don't think that our players really have a great awareness of that a lawsuit against the Athletic Foundation even affects them. Riding over here on the plane with them, I didn't sense that at all. So I don't think it's something that our kids are going to give a lot of thought to, really. The intent to which it came from, you'd have to ask Houston and his team that. I've said today, obviously I can't comment on it. I have my opinions on it for sure. Wish I could share them, but can't. And thought the timing was questionable.
Let's go here, left side, front row.
Coach Dan Matthews, gridironnow.com. Is there kind of a feeling with things like this of like, what's next?
It is. I've kind of felt that for 4 years now, and but I have gotten into a spot with myself, and to where you kind of just have the mindset of God is going to teach me something through whatever comes next, but there's no question that I'm eagerly anticipating the final run of this fall, hopefully, and where every recruit will have the finality in front of them. There won't be any speculation out there that they have to choose whether to believe or not. That it'll be, this is what it is, and you know us for who we are, and you know how you felt when you came to Ole Miss. And you know how your family felt when you came to Ole Miss. Now come help us become relevant in the SEC West.
Let's go here, right side, third row on the aisle.
Hey, Hugh, Matt Smith, Southern Pigskin. All coaches talk about eliminating the noise for their players and what's outside. Probably impossible for you this year, but for the players, they don't have to worry about scoreboard watching, standings, bowl projections, playoff rankings. Is it potentially easier for you to keep them on that one game at a time, 1 week at a time focus this year, just because that outside stuff really isn't a factor this year?
Yeah, you just that's a very good point, and something that I'll take from here is we don't have to worry about. I don't know when the bowl projections start but I have to confess to you, when they would start, I'm always watching, and it kind of affects your mindset some, and we won't have to deal with that this year, and we have an opportunity again that I've been trying to drive home since spring to myself, to our staff, to our players, that we have an opportunity to model for a lot of people that watch us, whether they like us, whether they don't like us, whether they believe in us, don't believe in us, whatever their choice is. We have an opportunity to model for a lot of people the proper way to handle a difficult circumstance while choosing to see how blessed you are with the things that you still have. I mean, our young men are still very blessed. They have an opportunity to be developed as a man, as a player, and as a student, and this outside stuff has nothing to do with that, and they can model for that every Saturday. They get an opportunity to play in a great environment.
Let's go left side here, second row.
Matt Stevens, Montgomery Advertiser. Hugh, Auburn's going to have a transfer quarterback in Jared Stedham, and whether it's been Bo or Chad, you've had that, and you've had to take the temperature in your locker room and monitor that. What's the more important for the coach in the process of trying to get a transfer quarterback up to speed and into the locker room and getting him to buy in? Yeah, Gus he'll manage that very well. I think the main thing for the players is that the players, mostly, particularly upperclassmen, they see things very similar to us as coaches, and they'll probably know, if they don't already, 2 weeks into fall camp, they'll know who they believe gives them the best chance to win, and whoever that is, they're probably right.
And I would think that the coaching staff would see it that way also. And I know they've got several good options, but I think they'll end up in a 2-week span of being on the same page. And then you shouldn't have, there wouldn't be any, the locker room wants to win. And they want somebody that's going to lead them and go to war with them. You know, Chad won the locker room immediately, pretty quick. And, you know, they wanted him in that huddle with them. Bo was the same way. And I know Auburn, they'll have one of those guys that the team views that way.
Let's go here left side against the wall, and then Dennis, you'll be next.
Coach, I know you guys don't have a lot of interaction with your players in the summer. Paul Jackson's in charge of that. Chad Kelly was always watching film. I hear Shea and his group are throwing at 5:30 in the morning, but that's voluntary.
Yeah.
How much do those guys put in, and what kind of reaction do you have from that?
Yeah, these last few weeks have been vacation time for the staff, but we're never. The office is always manned by an offensive and a defensive guy. Obviously, Paul and his staff are full-fledged going right now, as our kids are. But Paul is only using 6.5 hours right now, so we have an hour and a half that we can do film or instruction within the rules of what you can do. So when the coaches are in town, they're using that time effectively. And then obviously we're throwing 7-on-7 when the players arrange that, whether it's morning or whether it's afternoon. But you know, you depend heavily on that strength staff this time of year, and fortunately, and this is you know, you just pray that during this time that the kids are making good decisions, because it's the time that your team can be altered or changed based on a poor decision that they make. You know, when I'm in the mountains on vacation with my family in the last 10 days, and you know, you want to enjoy that time, but you do think about, man, I hadn't seen our kids in 10 days. You know, I hope they're doing well, but you need that time as a coach for sure.
Let's go here left side in the near corner.
Hugh, I get the ball ban, and you said you might go for it on 4th down more often. But
That was originally your idea, I think?
that was not my idea.
It wasn't?
But
It was somebody in Destin that brought that up, though.
how do you balance that? I mean, you've still got to win games, and I get
Yeah.
why you would do that, but how do you balance that?
I think every game's different. I think you probably, in the week's plan, you're thinking, this is kind of how I see this game going. And if you're playing a defense that is, you feel like, man, we're going to struggle to get our 30 points that we want, and you can steal an extra possession because it's 4th and 1 at the minus 40 or the plus 40 or the 50. I'd probably be more apt to do it sitting here today in the situation we're in. If you think you're probably going to score your 30 to 35, you know, maybe not so much unless it's a shootout, and that wouldn't be dictated until the game is ongoing. But before the game, I think you'll kind of have a mindset. Look, we're you know, points may be tough to come by. So if we get an opportunity it's 3rd and 6, I may say to Phil, we're going 2 down, so you treat 3rd down different. Not so much 4th down, but you need to treat this down different. Treat it as 2nd and 6.
We have time for one last question. Let's go right side here in the corner.
John Wilkerson, WNML Knoxville. Coach, last year it became exceedingly tough for Ole Miss to outscore the opposition. How do you go about changing that, repairing the defense, and getting back on track?
Well, we've got to stop the run. And we just could not, you know, you average what we averaged last year offensively in this league, you're supposed to win. And, you know, we've had a run offensively at Ole Miss for the 5 years I've been there that is really unmatched in the history of Ole Miss for 5 consecutive years. But defensively, we lost our edge. And, you know, McGriff is charged with getting that back along with Roach and Pivoto and Jason Jones. And I'll help them any way I can. But we got to have some young kids play. But we've got to find a way to stop the run and not give up 300 yards rushing in 6 games. And not only are you giving up rushing yards, and it's demoralizing kind of, but you're not getting on the field offensively when they're doing that.